The storm had come without warning, as they always did on Vareth 9. One moment, Arik was conducting his routine geological survey near the northern cliffs, and the next, the sky had split open with violet lightning and winds that could tear a man from his feet. He'd run for shelter, stumbling through the alien forest when he heard them. The cries. 3 small creatures, no larger than terrier dogs, huddled beneath a collapsed tree. Their fur was matted with rain, and their oversized eyes reflected terror. Arik recognized them immediately, Kavresh cubs. Their parents were apex predators, creatures that could crush a human skull with a single bite. The galaxy knew them. The galaxy feared them, but these were just babies, abandoned or lost, crying in the storm. Arik didn't hesitate. He scooped them up, all 3 squirming bodies, and pressed forward through the tempest. His communicator was dead, fried by the electromagnetic pulses that accompanied Vareth storms. He was alone, miles from the research station, with 3 predator cubs that would either die in the cold or grow up to potentially kill him. He found a cave as the storm reached its peak. Inside, he gathered what dry wood he could find and started a fire using the emergency ignition gel from his pack. The cubs pressed against him immediately, seeking warmth. Their small bodies trembled, and Arik found himself stroking their wet fur, whispering reassurances in a language they couldn't understand. "It's okay," he murmured. "You're safe now." The storm raged for 3 days. During that time, Arik shared his rations with the cubs, watched them grow stronger, and learned their personalities. The largest, with a white patch on her chest, was bold and curious. The smallest was timid but affectionate. The middle one was clever, always watching, always learning. He named them, though he knew he shouldn't. Echo, Whisper, and Shadow Commander Lyra of the Varath Elite Guard had been searching for the human scientist for 4 days when her thermal scanners picked up the anomaly. A heat signature in the northern caves, small but consistent. A campfire. Her team moved in with military precision, weapons ready. Humans were rare on Vareth 9, present only by special research permits. If one had gone rogue or worse, been compromised by the harsh environment and turned hostile, it was her duty to neutralize the threat. What she found instead stopped her cold. The human sat by a small fire, his back against the cave wall, asleep. 3 Kavresh cubs were curled against him, their bodies rising and falling with peaceful breaths. One had its head resting on the human's lap. Another was tucked under his arm. The third lay across his feet. Lyra's second-in-command raised his weapon. "Commander, Kavresh are classified as—" "Stand down," Lyra whispered, raising her hand. She'd been a soldier for 15 years. She'd seen combat across 7 systems. She'd witnessed the worst that sentient beings could do to each other. But she'd never seen anything like this. Humans were known in the galactic community as paradoxes. They were warriors and poets, destroyers and creators. They could survive in conditions that killed hardier species. Yet they wept at fictional stories. They were weak in frame but terrifying in determination, and apparently they adopted deadly predators as if they were pets. The human stirred, his eyes opening slowly. When he saw Lyra and her team, weapons drawn, standing at the cave entrance, he didn't panic. Instead, he carefully moved, trying not to wake the cubs. "Please," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Don't hurt them. They're just babies." Lyra studied him. His clothes were torn, his face gaunt from rationing his food. He was clearly exhausted, possibly hypothermic, and his first concern was for the Kavresh cubs. "What is your designation?" Lyra asked in standard. "Arik. Dr. Arik Chen. Geological survey team from the research station." He paused, looking down at the cubs. "I found them during the storm. Their parents. I don't know what happened to their parents. They would have died. Kavresh cubs imprint on their rescuers," Lyra said slowly. "They now believe you are their parent." Arik's expression was a mixture of wonder and worry.
What
does that mean?" "It means," Lyra said, lowering her weapon and signaling her team to do the same, "that you have a problem, Dr. Chen. When their birth parents return and find you with their cubs, they will kill you. And we cannot protect you from adult Kavresh. There are protocols, treaties. They are a protected species on this world." She watched the human process this information, watched the fear flicker across his face. Then she watched him look down at the 3 small creatures pressed against him, and she saw his expression harden with resolve. "Then we'll have to explain it to them. Arik said simply. I'm not abandoning these cubs. There has to be a way. Lyra felt something shift in her chest. In all her years of military service, she'd never encountered such foolish bravery, such irrational compassion, such humanity. There might be, she found herself saying, though protocol screamed at her to simply extract the human and leave the cubs. The Kavresh have a debt ritual. If we can demonstrate that you saved their offspring, they may accept you into their pack structure. A pack? Arik's eyebrows rose. I'd become part of their family? Essentially, yes. Though it's rarely done and never with an off-worlder. Lyra stepped into the cave, her team following cautiously. But I've never seen a human do what you've done either. Perhaps exceptions should be made. Over the next hours, Lyra's team set up proper shelter, provided medical attention to both Arik and the cubs, and sent communications to the Xenobiological Ethics Committee. When the storm finally broke and the twin suns of Vareth 9 emerged, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold, they saw them. Two adult Kavresh, massive and magnificent, approaching through the forest. Arik stood at the cave entrance, the cubs playing at his feet. Lyra stood beside him, her weapon holstered but ready. This was the moment that would determine everything. The adult Kavresh stopped 50 meters away. Their eyes, intelligent and ancient, assessed the scene. Then the cubs ran forward, tumbling over each other in their excitement, calling out in their chittering language. They reached their parents, then turned back to Arik, running between the human and the Kavresh, back and forth, their meaning clear. Family. Pack. Ours. The larger Kavresh approached slowly. Arik didn't move, didn't show fear, though Lyra could see his hands trembling. The creature stopped inches from him, towering over his frame, and lowered its massive head. It pressed its forehead against Arik's chest. Acceptance. Lyra released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Behind her, her team stood in stunned silence. Well, Lyra said softly, I suppose you have a home now, Dr. Chen. Arik laughed, a sound of relief and disbelief mixed together. As the cubs climbed over him and the adult Kavresh rumbled a deep protective sound. I suppose I do. In the years that followed, the story would spread across the galactic community. The human who got lost in a storm, saved predator cubs and became packed to one of the most feared species in the sector. It became another tale in the growing legend of humanity. The species that saw danger and chose compassion, that found family in the most unlikely places. And Commander Lyra, who had been searching for a lost scientist, found something else entirely. Proof that sometimes, the strongest bonds are forged in the fiercest storms.